Welcome to the third of the developer diary videos for Magical Fairy Force, my in-progress PC game project. This is a much shorter video than the previous two, and that's mostly because the sort of stuff that I'm working on now is just much less visible than what was done before. Something I've noticed in a lot of game development is that early on you get a lot of interesting things to show. You get a lot of fast progress as you knock off the low-hanging fruit. But eventually you get to the point where things get hard, and I'm kind of at that point now where a lot of the work that I'm doing is much more behind-the-scenes type work that just doesn't show, at least in a way that, it comes out well in a video. And yeah, it's a lot of the stuff I'm doing now. In particular, I'm about to embark on revision 3 of the CPU AI behavior. But here is something new that we have as the demo mode kicks in. This is one of the new character redesigns. We've got 2 of them in now. So there's that. We'll watch as the demo plays out a little bit here. But despite the fact that I'm now doing a lot more back-end type stuff, I did have a few things I wanted to show off, and since it has been a couple of weeks since I posted a video, I wanted to keep anyone who is following this updated. So let's go ahead and look at some of the things that I have set up now. There have been some interesting enhancements to the character select screen. One thing I did is I put this obnoxious tiled background in there. This is mostly because I just wanted to have something back there. This is probably not what's going to be there in the long run, but I wanted something, so hey, there's a cute little background. Another thing that I did is I added what I'm calling internally in the code a map flyer to the map. And this is copying the idea that Street Fighter II used on its character map, where there's a little airplane that flew you from place to place as you went to seek out your next opponent. So I've got something here. What it actually is a very small version of the sprite from the Atari version of the game, at least for now. It'll probably change. You see, if I start a new game here, and you see, you might be able to catch it, it zips over to the next stage. And the stages do all have names now. And the name is displayed on the map, even though there's no actual stage yet, but the names are there. So I got that cute little map flying thing on there. And there have also been some very interesting enhancements to the color edit mode. So here is one of the characters has just been redesigned, and you can see that now on the color edit mode we have the in-game flying sprite displayed to the left of the portrait, so you can see the changes as they occur, not only on the portrait but on the player sprite itself. And I've also set up a system to name the different color zones. As you can see here on the left side, you see where it says the word skin, and I can scroll through the different zones. There's shirt, skirt, etc. And this allows me to do some interesting stuff. So now, for example, if I change the shirt color, you can see it changing on the in-game character at the same time as the portrait is changing. So I can mess with it like that. And this also introduces some zones that are present on one image but not the others. Like, for example, actually that was a good one, but teeth. Now the teeth are on the large portrait, but you don't see the teeth on the other one, on the smaller in-game image. And some of that goes the other direction too, like here we have left shoe, right shoe, which don't appear on the large image. But we'll make the shoes a different color. So the color edit mode has been enhanced quite a bit. Another thing I've done now is it does have the ability to save the palette now, although there's no real use for it right now. It just dumps it to a file. And I think, at least in the short term, I'm mostly going to use that to generate the official palettes for all the different characters once I get around to implementing that system. But the color edit mode has come along quite a bit, and I'm very proud of that. Porkchop as well has his in-game image where you can mess around with some of the stuff that's not on the portrait, like his boots. And I suppose the last interesting thing that I want to point out is that I've actually gotten some work done on the replay system. So right now, every time you play a 2-player or 4-player game, it saves the replay. And then if you select replay from the menu, it just replays that previous match. So what I'll do here is I will start up a 2-player game. And I'll just try to move around rather erratically and make things happen. Here I'll wiggle around player 2 as everybody gets shot. And the game, okay. Player 1 just lost. So that match was just saved. And if I go to the replay mode, it will play it back. So I'm not controlling this. This is the replay from the replay file that was generated. And this works for the 4-player fights as well. It supports the computer players, so it's pretty robust. I still need to put an interface, for actually managing the replay files. At the moment, there's just the one replay, but that's there. So I think that's probably about all I really wanted to get into on this video. I said work is still coming along, but it's just stuff that it's just harder to show. Particularly, at least for the remainder of this week and probably much of next week, I'm going to spend a lot of time rethinking the way that the CPU AI works. Originally, my first attempt at it, I tried to more or less copy the system I used for the Atari game, but that wasn't working very well. I came up with a second system that I got most of the way through implementing before realizing that wasn't working very well. I have an idea for a third revision, which I'm still fleshing out in my mind here, but I'll probably start trying to put that into place here in the next couple of days. And one thing I do really want to do are difficulty levels for the computer players. So I need to come up with a system that allows me to somehow do that, to parameterize it in such a way that I can do different difficulty levels. But that is for the future. So I think we'll close this video off right here. And again, if you're interested in the development of this game, especially if you're a fan of the Atari version, stay tuned to this channel, and I should see another video probably within a couple of weeks.